exhaustion, overworking, feeling anxious. I have felt all of those things in the last 5 minutes. A few weeks ago, I was feeling really upset and kind of downtrodden. I felt like I was just at the end of my rope. And so I reached out on my Instagram with an Instagram story saying, hey, how do you find peace in your day? What brings you peace? Then something happened that I wasn't expecting. It blew up, okay? The people were commenting like crazy on these posts. I got 10,000 followers in 7 days. It was bizarro because people were really resonating with this. And so I was like, man, this is obviously hitting a nerve. We are obviously all looking for peace in our day. This is the video based off of that series and all of your amazing responses and the insight you have brought to all the types and what brings you peace and how we all can find peace in our day. Also, if you're new here, hello, I'm Abby and I'm here to help you discover you. I put out new videos every single week, so subscribe if you haven't already. Let's talk about pockets of peace for Enneagram type 9. I think the overarching theme of the responses I got for this is these pockets of peace are all rooted in being present in the moment. Find restoration in your day by going for a walk in nature or going to the top of a mountain and looking at the view, getting hugs from the people that you love, sitting in the sunshine and just being still, soaking up the sun, soaking up the day, throwing a summer dinner party for all your friends and family. I'm talking get out the watermelon, get out the popsicles and the sangria and have a big, fun, languishing summer dinner party. Setting the tone, the vibe of the room by lighting a scented candle, doing a gentle yoga practice and regulating your nervous system. And also allowing yourself to have a day with absolutely zero plans. You are expected to do nothing. Some other things that were suggested in the comments of the Instagram post was a hammock. And then a bunch of other 9s chimed in and said, yes, we want a hammock. So get yourself a hammock and you've got your own little hammock pocket of peace. Okay, let's get into pockets of peace for type 8. The common ground for all of these things I thought was rooted in satisfaction. These things included lifting weights so that your mind finally quiets, your bed, the feeling that you get after a good workout, that endorphin, tired feeling afterwards, that is a peaceful place for type 8. Puppies, obviously, or kittens, if you're like me and you love a good cat. Hiking in a beautiful place, kind of getting that satisfaction of you're getting your energy out, you're going and exploring and doing something, and you also have nature, which is so peaceful and restorative for so many people. Someone else had put this and I thought it was amazing. They said Costco pizza after a successful grocery run. And to me, that's the ultimate satisfaction. You've got your groceries for the week. Now you're rewarding yourself with this giant slice of amazing, greasy Costco pizza. Just divine. Other things were knowing everything is in order, feeling like everything is in its place and everything is in control. That brings peace to type 8s. And then napping next to a loved one or being close to a loved one is a really restorative thing for a type 8. One thing to note, the napping was a bit controversial. Some people in the comments were like, yeah, we'd love to nap. And other people were like, ew, napping? That's for babies, the elderly, and the infirm. So grain of salt with that one. Let's talk about pockets of peace for Enneagram type 7s. I found that the through line for this is that all of these things are rooted in freedom. Your pockets of peace include when the song perfectly fits the vibe, taking a hot bath, bonfires, or just gathering around a fire of any sort, a long warm hug from a person that you love, being with people who don't need to be entertained. That one I think is genius. It's a way for type 7s to be with people and also be able to relax because they don't need to be the life of the party. They can just be. So finding those people who you can just be with is really important for 7s. Camping under the stars. I have met so many 7s that are really into camping and being outdoors. So that seems to be something that they really resonate with. I can't relate, but I hear you and I'm putting it in the video. Sounds of nature and then sitting in bed and watching a movie. All of these things are are activities and moments that bring peace to type 7. This one comment I loved so much that I pinned, and I'm gonna read it to you. My husband is a solid 7. He said trying new foods, going on spontaneous adventures in the car, and having random squirrely conversations with people who can hang. And I just love that description of like squirrely conversations bring peace and rest to type 7. So if you're a 7, you go find those squirrely people to have squirrely conversations with. Okay, 6s, it's your turn. What are your pockets of peace? What are things that you can turn to when you feel burned out, anxious, overworked, and just like you are doing too much? I found that the through line of all of these suggestions were rooted in stillness. Things like sitting in a quiet place in nature, reading in bed at night, taking an afternoon nap, the feeling after you've paid your bills and bought groceries for the week and you've put it all in your fridge, brain dumping, just getting all of the craziness out and onto a piece of paper so that it doesn't have to live in your brain. Long drives with an open sunroof so you can just feel the wind in your hair and just feel free. And basically, I'm seeing that a lot of these things are like finding rest from your brain. What are ways that you can shut down your nervous system and just kind of take a deep breath, find stillness, and find peace? Obviously, another thing that is really helpful for that is meditation, and then planning things you enjoy. 6s are often planning everything in their lives, but not necessarily planning for fun things. Like, what if you plan for a Saturday afternoon picnic where you and your close group of friends just sit around, drink some wine, read books, play with bubbles? I don't know. Just like, what if you planned something that sounds super fun and restorative for you? Another suggestion that was put in the comments of this post was watching a comfort movie with a warm blanket and a fire in the fireplace and a hot drink while it's raining outside. The vibes. Type 5s, what are your pockets of peace? The through line that I see in all of these suggestions is that your peace is rooted in solitude. Because I got so many answers that had an emphasis on being alone, I put it in a couple of times in this post because I thought it was so important. It needed to be emphasized over and over again. For example, finally being alone after a day with people, or getting the house to yourself so you just have the whole time to be alone, staring at the night sky, thinking about how small we are, listening to the rain, a solo walk through the farmer's market, watching a juicy documentary, researching something you enjoy, and reading a book. All of these things happen when you're alone or with a person who makes you feel alone, which sounds like an insult, but for introverts and type 5s, it's not. If you feel like you're alone with the person you're closest with, like that's a good relationship, yes. A type 5 emphasized this by saying, OMG, getting the house to myself is the most freeing feeling, like I can finally breathe. And walking through the grocery store. I'd also add to this, deep one-on-one conversations with someone you really trust and love. What are the pockets of peace for Enneagram type 4s? The through line for all of these was, can you guess it? I think you could probably guess it, but it's creativity. Listening to children play and envisioning your childhood and just soaking up the sounds of imagination happening right here in the world with you. Getting those Philips Hue colored lights. My husband's a 4 and we have them in our house, all over the house, and he loves like experimenting with the different colors and just color and beauty is a huge pocket of peace for a type 4. Anything involving water, so like oceans, rivers, lakes, streams, anything like that that's moving and creative and nature-filled, that is awesome. Staring at the moon and thinking of all the people in the world who are also gazing at the moon. Swinging on the swing, connecting with your inner child. The sense of freedom when there's nothing on your to-do list. Rain, all of the rain. And finally, a good cry, just letting it all out. Sometimes a cry can feel so good. It's actually the restoration that you needed just to get it out. Someone in the comments said, I actually get excited when it rains at night so I can fall asleep to the rain. It's more ... romantic. Anything that allows me to feel the entirety of what I feel without judgment. And they are a 4-wing 3. Type 3s, my Enneagram type. What brings us pockets of peace? Looking through all of the suggestions and then looking at how I find peace, I think the through line is rooted in authenticity. That makes sense to me because type 3s are at their best when they find their authentic self and when they're not deceiving themselves or other people. Some examples of this is spending time with a loved one who can peel away the layers. And I put an onion picture with this because it reminded me of when Shrek is trying to explain his soul to Donkey.
No! Layers! Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers? You get it. We both have layers.
Other things that bring peace to 3s are a clean house and a lit candle. I cannot tell you the importance of a clean, calm environment on my mental state. A big, fluffy, cuddly dog. And I feel like that gets back to getting into your inner child too, and like being present in the moment. Like dogs are so present and they're just here and they're just cuddly and they're fun. And I feel like that's a really good way for 3s to get in the moment, get authentic. Savasana at the end of yoga practice is the only time I'm ever truly calm. Writing out all your feelings that you've been keeping inside. I think journaling is vitally important for type 3s. Driving up the coast and looking at the ocean. And then this one is not necessarily linked to authenticity, but damn, does it feel good. At the end of the day, every item on your to-do list is checked off, and something you can do with that is making realistic to-do lists. So don't make it this crazy long to-do list, right? You want to make it something manageable and something that you can see yourself checking off and finishing at the end of the day. Now let's talk about Enneagram type 2s. What brings 2s peace? I think all of the things I'm about to talk about are all rooted in warmth. When someone says, I love you, or a new beginning, I like to think of it as like sunrises and everything sunrises represent. An outdoor summer barbecue with friends and family. Reading a romance novel or whatever type of novel you love in a cozy corner. Someone doing something really nice and unexpected for you, like bringing you a coffee or showing up for a surprise visit. Something just really life-giving and unexpected to a type 2. Other things include leisurely walks in nature, making things with your hands like knitting or crafting or cooking, something that involves, tactile, getting present, getting in the moment and making something. And lastly, when all the people that you love are at your house and everyone kind of ends up in the kitchen, because the kitchen is the best place to be, and everyone's talking and feeling, warm and homey together, like that is the ultimate feeling of peace for a type 2. In the comments of this post, someone said, absolutely spot on. I would also add, looking back through old photos, trinkets, and letters of sentimental value. And that to me screams warmth, like a cozy sweater you're putting on, and reading through all of these things that bring you joy and remind you of all these amazing memories. And last but not least, pockets of peace for Enneagram type 1. I find that all of these peaceful things are rooted in self-care for type 1s. This looks like waking up early before everyone else is awake so that you can have your self-care morning, your stillness with your inbox still at 0 and coffee just freshly brewing just for you so that you can have time just to be you and without any expectations. Other things that I encourage for peace for 1s is watching a comfort TV show, getting your house cleaned by somebody else, and then just enjoying the feeling of that, escaping into your creative outlet, whether that be gardening or art or writing, whatever it is, finding time for you to connect with that creative inner child that you have. Cooking a healthy, delicious dinner, I think, is really healing for a type 1. Organizing mess into manageable tasks. So if you have like a very crazy brain dump, putting them into categories, assigning priorities, getting them onto a timeline that feels manageable and accomplishable for you. I don't think that's a word. Other self-care things are putting on clean sheets on a Sunday night so that your bed is just ready to go for the week. I think that's beautiful. And then also going on long, leisurely walks in nature. You know, put on a podcast, get some music that you love vibing to, and go for a long, beautiful walk. And one of the comments was about the comfort TV shows, and I thought it was interesting to share. She says, one here, my husband cannot understand why I never want to watch emotionally charged or sad movies. Give me comfort and lighthearted, please. This world is heavy enough, and it's a lot of work trying to come up with ways to solve all of the problems and make it better. You can imagine as ones go through the world with this kind of heaviness of trying to improve themselves and the world around them all the time, that it's really necessary for you to find levity and to find funniness and comfort and just these pockets of peace where you can just be. Special shout out to Eric and Mary Beth. They are long-term Patreon supporters, and they are always giving me encouragement and just adding so much value to the Patreon community. So thank you so much for that. If you want to join the Patreon, I will put the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.